Yo, what's up? What's up? It's your man, So Busy. Boss Talk 94303. You back again. Sponsored by Stay Busy Apparel. Today's show, man. Today's show. I got something on my mind today. Yeah, I got on my Astros gear. We just lost, but it is what it is. Congratulations to the Atlanta Braves. They played better. They deserved to win. But I got something on my mind today. Why is it that we glorify criminals? Why is it that these Al Capone, Scarface, some of these we inspire to be these people? We're envious of these people. We wish we were these people. What is that about? I want to know. That's what we're talking about today on Boss Talk 94303. Once again, I got some stuff on my mind, man. So over the last 3 weeks, I was in Medellin, Colombia. I was over there networking, politicking, vacating, sightseeing on some tourist stuff. And, we did a lot of little tours, Comuna Treses is how you say it, I guess. Parque Lettuce, El Poblado. We went to the big park out there. I didn't get a chance to go to Guatapé this time, but I'm definitely going next time I go, which will be in another couple months. And we did the Pablo Escobar tour. And we did the Pablo Escobar tour because coming up, was living that life. And Pablo Escobar was somebody that at an early age we looked up to and we cheered for. So when we left the Airbnb to go on the tour, the guy said, "Hey man, kind of be careful, when you out there, because the locals don't really take to those tours. They don't like that. They're profiting off of that because there's a lot of people's pain and misery involved." And he said that, and the whole time we was on a tour, I kept that in the back of my mind. So, I kept my head on a swivel, because I didn't really understand the danger that he was talking about, and I asked the tour guy, I said, "Hey, why did the guy at the airport say that?" At the Airbnb say that. And he was like, he made it real vague because of course this is his tour. He's making money. So, he don't want to say nothing to, make you look down on what he's doing. And so, that kind of stayed in the back of my mind. So coming home, on the flight coming home, I started playing some things in my mind. And I started I just started self-evaluating like I do a lot of times. And I started asking myself some questions. And I remember as a youngster, I did a book report in like the 6th grade. And I did a book report on Al Capone. And I remember when I handed the book report in, the teacher was like, that's an interesting choice, and, I never thought nothing about it, but, I used to watch The Untouchables and, had heard these stories and saw these, read in these books about Al Capone. For one, he was from Chicago. I always thought Chicago was like a dope place when I was young, coming up in San Francisco. So, Al Capone was like, the king of Chicago at that time in my mind. And so on the flight home, I started wondering, like, because the guy had told me, he said that, there was an American rapper over here named Wiz Khalifa, and he took a picture in front of Pablo Escobar's gravesite and he posted it on his Instagram. And the powers that be in Colombia basically told him that until you take that down and apologize, we're going to bar you from Colombia. And the guy at the at the Airbnb, when I got back, he wasn't there. But the next day I went down in the lobby and I talked to him for a while. And I was like, "Hey man," I told him what the guy had told us about, Wiz Khalifa And he said, well, you got to remember, Pablo Escobar killed thousands of Colombians while he was selling his drugs. And everybody has, well, a lot of people has some kind of horror story of how this guy affected their lives. Pablo Escobar would blow up a restaurant, kill 30 people to kill one person. He blew up an airplane one time to kill one politician. The soccer team lost a match one time and he killed the whole team. So at the age I am now, I started thinking when I was on my way home, like, why do we glorify and be intrigued and fall in love with these, you know, psychopaths, sociopaths, mass murders, whatever you call them, from Lucky Luciano to John Gotti to Carlo Gambino to, why are we so infatuated and we worship and we almost idolize these criminals? Just the other day, guy named Alpo Martinez from New York, from the Paid in Full, the movie Paid in Full, Cameron played his character. He was killed in Harlem. And I remember back in 1988, 89, 88, 89, one of those years, my sister, and shout out to my sister, Darlene, and her friend, Lori Cheatham. Shout out to Lori, that's my sister. They went to Howard. So me and Melvin Hall, Junkyard, we went out there for Howard homecoming. So at the time, Lori had a friend named Daryl, and Daryl was from New York. So during the homecoming, he was like, hey, ride with me to New York real quick. Oh, he's like, you want to ride to New York with me real quick? And I was like, yeah, it's cool, whatever, let's do it. DC and New York is only, a few hours ride. It's like, we come right back in the morning. We're just going to turn around. So we rode up there. When we got to Harlem, there was a club called the Rooftop. I mean, I don't know about West Coast, but pretty much everybody on the East Coast had heard of the Rooftop. So after the Rooftop closed, there was this hamburger joint called Willie Burgers. And that was like the sideshow. That's where everybody be out there, all the fly girls, all the dudes and they whips. And, it was a sideshow. And so we had pulled up and we wasn't in the front and we wasn't in the midst of everything. But we was kind of parked like off. And, we sitting back observing the scene. At the time, we had bought a couple capsules. So we smoking or whatever. And it was a lot of commotion going on for 1 minute. And, kind of like made it like it was a fight or something. So about 10, 15 minutes later, Daryl saw a guy that he knew. And he was like, hey, what's up, man? He was like, what just happened? And dude was like, yeah, Poe stripped the nigga naked for trying to talk to his girl. Made him walk down the street naked. And he was like, glamorized that. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, who is Poe? And he was like, it's Alpo. They getting money from Harlem. And, he didn't really go into details, but later on, it turned out it's this Alpo guy that I started hearing about, that I started seeing documentaries about Alpo, AZ, Rich Porter. So I'd heard about what, Alpo did to Rich Porter, and I'd heard, some of the stories about him. I never saw him, I never met him, but, that was the stories, like Poe stripped the nigga naked. So I remember then saying, I don't know about that. Like, I remember telling Daryl, like, strip the nigga naked for talking to his girl. For one, I'm from the West Coast. We don't get at dudes for talking to our girls. We get at the chick. You know what I mean? And if they go, then, you just got to accept that. Nevertheless, this was like my first introduction to this name, Alpo. So I guess the other day, the other day he got killed. He killed his friend Rich Porter. He had was down in DC getting money, and he ended up telling on a lot of his friends and telling on a lot of people and killing a lot of people. But somehow over the years, this dude has been glorified. Nicky Barnes glorified. Like all of these drug dealers and these guys that cause terror in our neighborhoods, somehow we glorify them. And I on the flight home, I was wondering, like, why? Is it because that, coming up, we always was the underdog? So if we saw a guy that quote unquote made it to the big time of whatever his crime life was, and because we was against the powers that be, against the government, that we generally look at that as a good thing. Like, we wish we could do that. We wish that we could make millions of dollars and not worry about the government and kill whoever got in our way. And somehow we had a false sense of this is how it should go, or this is a good thing. And then, you see all the movies, The Untouchables, Goodfellas, Scarface, and we The Godfather and Casino, and we see all these movies, and these guys are like heroes to us. But why? Why are these guys heroes to us? Like, these guys kill people. These guys, but we understand that when you in a life, if there's a set of rules and you don't abide by the rules, this is what happens. You get killed. We understand that there's a set of rules that you play by. And if you violate these rules, and back then there was quote unquote honor amongst thieves. We only kill each other. We don't kill women. We don't kill kids. We don't kill people that don't have nothing to do with this. And then you didn't rat on your friends. If you caught a case or you got pinched, you did your time, you came home and you got stripes for that. But then somewhere along the line, it got blurred. Like, guys start testifying so they don't have to do, because the federal government started giving people, instead of 5 years, they started giving guys 25 years. And so some guys, they don't want to do that time, so they go to witness protection, or some of these things that they do for whatever reason. We glorify them. Like, we glorify John Gotti, we glorify Scarface. We wish that we could rise from nobody, dead broke, to top of the world, where we can go to the car lot and just say, hey, give me that car. Well, do you want to know the price? I don't care. Here go a bag of money. I just want the car. Because that's the things that we wish we could do. And if this is what we have to do that, sign me up. When we're young, that's the way we thought. But why? Like, I want to know, why did we think like that? All of these little significant things are like wins to us. The Rolex watch. I remember I couldn't wait to get my first Rolex watch. That symbolized that, like, you've arrived. Like, you in the big time now. You got a $20,000 watch on your arm. You understand what I'm saying? Or you could go drive the Cadillac off the showroom floor, the Benz, or or the BMW, and these foreign cars, and you could wear these clothes, that these feline sweatsuits, and because we never had nothing, and our parents worked hard, and they could only give us what they could give us. So if we could go out here and we could bend a few rules, and as long as we didn't have to hurt nobody. And then somewhere along the line, it became, well, maybe you got to hurt somebody. And if you got to hurt somebody, and if they understand that that's the game they signed up for, then oh well. But why? Once again, why? Why did that become cool? Why did that become fashionable? That you're willing to hurt people. And then it became, once the movies and the video games and rap music, and I'm not blaming no one entity for the mindset, because parenting starts at home. But then there's no perfect way to raise a child. You could bring a child up in church, send them to private school, give them all the best of this and that and this and that, and they still smoke crack, commit crimes, drop out, be a bum. So there's no perfect way. You just have to, do what you can as a parent. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, we went to the actual rooftop where he was killed. He died in his 30s. He in his grave. I remember when we was going to his grave, I was like, man, he probably in a big old mausoleum. Nah, he's just like the next person that worked the job. And dude was like, in Colombia, when you die, you die. That's just what it is. You know, And some of those things just really hit home to me. Like at the age I am now, would I want my kids out here killing people for profit just to be able to wear a big watch, just to be able to wear a nice car, just to be able to live in a nice home? Would I want my kids to be willing to take people's lives and shoot people and hurt people for that? And I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't. And I'd like to say that I'm not responsible for no one ever dying. I never killed nobody, and I'm not responsible for nobody ever dying. I never told on nobody. Nobody ever went to jail because of me. When I did the things that I did, the penalties that I paid for them by myself. I owned up to them. I did the time that I had to do, and I paid for the things that I did. You know, I remember one time my auntie Rosie, you know, like coming up, like we would always go places with her. She would take us fishing. She would take us to Yosemite Park. And so I remember when I was in the game, and she had told my mother, telling my mother had told me a couple of times, Rosie said, come around and talk to her, because she like literally lived right around the corner from us. So I remember I went over there, and she was like, nephew, I don't remember verbatim what she said, but basically her conversation was, nephew, I pray for you so hard now because I know you know better. And that money that you're making now, you think that it's good, but you're a better person than that. The whole time my pager's going off, and I'm looking at my pager like, auntie, I see, like I gotta go. And she was like, I understand, but believe me, I pray for you hard. You know what I mean? And I love you. And I just want you to know that you're a better person than that. But at the time, it's like in my mind as a youngster, it's like, I'm getting ready to go make more money today than you probably make the whole year. How can you tell me I'm better than that? Like, it would seem like you should think that but what made us think like that? And I got to shout out to my partner, Steve Smothers. Shout out to Steve Smothers. Shout out, because when all of us that grew up, me, Steve-O, Lachi, Clay Brock, Myron Jordan, Stacy, Tracy, Dwight Welch, Calvin, Petey, all of us that used to be at their house like every day, every other day, we all got in the game. Steve-O didn't. Steve-O didn't. To my knowledge, Steve-O never sold no drugs. To my knowledge, Steve-O never did none of that. And I remember, like, Steve-O was always a few months older than all of us. All of us was born around the same time, but Steve-O was a few months earlier. And I remember Steve, and I used to be like he went to college, he wanted to play ball. Like, he was dedicated to playing ball. Him, Marty Moore, Jeff Stewart, like they was into playing ball. They went to Monterey University. And I remember like one day saying, Steve-O, like showing him some money, like, Bo, like we get money. And he was like, I don't want that. You know what I mean? He was like, I don't want that. And at that time, I did not understand. But I'm wondering why I did not understand. Like, of course it was the money, but the means by which the things we were willing to do to get the money. Like, we was jeopardizing going to jail. We was jeopardizing Fed cases. I remember the first time I went to jail, 3 months. Second time I went to jail was like 90 days. Then they put you on probation, because it's a cycle. What they do is you catch a case. This is if you're lucky. Sometimes some people, the first case they caught, bang zoom. Like Norton said, bang zoom. They was out of here 20 years, 25 years. But back then, 83, 84, 85, you catch a case, you be on probation. The system know you're gonna violate the probation. So then when you violate the probation, you go to the, you go do 2-3 years, you catch that nickel, you do 2.5. Now you on parole, now you got a felony, now you scarred for life, and and it would always go, you would be getting money till you catch a case. And then you got to pay your lawyer. And now you down, now you chasing because now you're trying to get that money back that you got to pay or that you lost when you got caught. So then maybe you catch another case, maybe you get robbed. All of these hazards of the game that nobody tells you about. They just show you the money. I remember I was working two jobs at the time. I was working for Turner Construction and I was working at the drive-in in Mountain View on Wednesdays and Saturday nights. Now, I'm dating myself. I'm telling you, I worked at the drive-in in Mountain View. Long story short, the homie would come by tired from working all day, and he'd be like, come on, we go sit in his car and we'd smoke a joint. And he was riding Cadillac. He had a pocket full of money, gold chain on. And I remember I'm saying, what is it he doing? Like, what am I doing wrong? Because I'm tired as heck. I got to wait till Friday to get paid. And he wake up when he want to wake up, chilling, looking fresh. Like somewhere in my mind computed what I'm doing wrong and what he's doing is right. And I just didn't understand that. I mean, I didn't understand it. So I was like, I want to do that, because I remember counting my safe and I was like, dang. And I remember asking my stepfather, hey, how much money do you make? And I remember him telling me how much money he made. And I was like, I got that in the safe. He got to get up and go to work every day to make the money that I already got. Now, in the real world, if I was going to do that, maybe I would have had the foresight to invest in property, to invest in some of these things. But we were so happy to just be getting money that we was blowing it. We had an apartment and would be at the hotel every night. The hotels was just the kick it spot. That's where we would be at every night. Everybody in the hood would be in Mountain View at the hotels. We all had apartments. None of us bought houses, and so you get caught up in this cycle. And then everybody watched the movie Scarface, but everybody thinks that they'll do something different in the end. So is it worth it? Like, is that 3, 4, 5 years of balling out of control worth that 25, 30 years, or maybe even that bullet to the back of the head that you're probably going to suffer? And you're probably going to get that. That's probably what's going to happen. There ain't many drug dealers that can say, or criminals, period, that ran these criminal organizations, whether it's drugs, whether it's extortion, whether it's racketeering, whether it's bank robberies, there's not many stories of these guys getting rich, investing their money, and retiring and never going to jail. There's not many stories of that. There are some, though. There are some, but they few and far between. Lil D, shout out to Lil D, because from what I understand, Lil D be going to these schools every day telling these kids this is not the way to do it. Because he actually really feels that what he was doing was wrong. And now he's trying to right the wrongs. So shout out to him. That's the way God's using him right now. Now, once again, at the age I am now, I understand all this. 20 years ago, I didn't think like this. I didn't think to the extreme like that to where I wanted to kill people. But I was like, if you got to bend the rules a little bit to beat the system and, get where you want to get the nice things that in all actuality, who wants to work 30 years to get the retirement watch? Who want to do that? We want those things sooner than later. But patience is a virtue. We never wanted to like we never bit into the whole concept of working 30 years, save your money, make good investments, and you could live good, because a lot of us didn't even think about when we got 50 or 60. We was, Jay-Z said in the song, one of the songs, fuck tomorrow, long as the night before was sweet. That's how we live. We were about tomorrow when we were with tomorrow. Last night, we balled out of control. And that's just the way we thought a lot of times. Why do we think? Is it because they're beating the system and the system been on our neck for so long? So once somebody beats the system, it's like, go get them, champ. I mean, it has to be a little bit of that, but nobody ever thinks about the get back, the 30 years, the 25 years. I'm quite sure Little D, Durrell Reed, I'm quite sure he would trade all the money that he ever had for that 20 something years that he did in jail. I know for a fact, I don't have to ask him. I know for a fact he'll trade that, because the only thing we have that's valuable that we can't get no more of is time. See, Lil D can go out here and he could open a business, or he could start some kind of business, and he can get that money that he made again one day. But he can't never get that time back. The little time I did, I can never get that time back. And that's the most valuable thing we own, is time and peace of mind. You know, I sleep good at nighttime now. A lot of times I wake up and be like, dang, I left my door unlocked, because I don't have no issues that I'm worried about. I'm not looking out the window. You know, if you peek out the blinds all the time, then you knew how we was living. So the question is, they say, if you know better, you'll do better. Like, we got to stop glorifying Lucky Luciano, Al Capone, John Gotti, Carlo Gambino, um, Lil D, um, 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 Rick Ross, the real Rick Ross. Like, we got to quit glorifying these guys. We got to quit, because the youngsters see it. And now look at these youngsters. Look at the streets of Chicago. It's a battlefield. It's literally a war zone. And for what? Because now it's not about killing for money no more. Now it's just about killing to be killing, catching a body. Like, that's the most, man, I got a body. Niggas claiming my bodies. Why is it that it's cool to be from Bodymore, Murderland? Or Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I remember in 92, I was living in Chicago, and I seen on CNN one night, I'm just clicking the remote, the small town of East Palo Alto is ranked as the murder capital of the United States. And I remember sitting up in the bed like, we the murder capital. Like, I was really literally happy about that. Never mind that some of those dudes that died for us to get that title was people I knew, and I knew their families, and I knew the pain that their families suffered. Never mind that my cousin Durrell, who I looked up to, that was my hero, was killed literally for nothing, really, shot in the back and killed. You know, never mind that one of my best friends at the time, Johnny Morton, Jada, the debater is what we called him, because he always liked debating and arguing. And if you say it's cold outside, he'll say, not really, it's kind of warm. If you say that's a nice car, no, I don't like that. He just liked the debate. That's what we called him, Jada the debater. He was killed. Now, there was circumstances behind it, but nevertheless, I remember when I was at his wake, and I remember saying, because up until then, you know, in our little hood, we didn't grow up with that. We didn't grow up like in LA and Chicago, where we've been going to funerals since we was 8, 9, and 10. We didn't grow up like that. But I remember being at Johnny's wake, and I was like, this is different now. This ain't the same. Like this ain't fun no more. And I remember laying at home that night, like, and I remember a little tear coming down my eye, and I was like, dang, like, why did that have to happen? Because, see, I grew up in the church. So I always had some kind of compassion for men. Like, even in the game, I didn't want to see bad things happen to people. You know, and I was one of those dudes, oh, I don't grind on Sundays. Meanwhile, niggas is getting money on Sundays. You feel me? But I'm like, I don't hustle on Sundays. You know, I was one of them, you know. But I mean, that's the question I want us to ask, man. Like why? Why do we glorify? And we got to stop doing, like in Colombia, they don't glorify Pablo Escobar. The whole neighborhood, Comuna 13, Comuna 13, in the 80s and early 90s was one of the most notorious hoods in the world. They've transformed that. And it's businesses, it's graffiti, it's art, it's creativity going on. I know most of y'all never been there, but like it's on the come, it ain't even on the come up, it's on the up. When I was just over there, so many Americans is coming over there. The cost of living is a third of what it is here. The way of life, it's a little happier. I'm quite, there's bad everywhere, so let's not even do that. But they don't glorify Pablo Escobar, Griselda Blanco. They're not running around hailing them as, you know, great people, because, most people, they say, can tell you a horror story of how this man or this woman negatively affected their life. And, you know, um, um, the gangster is gangster to everybody unless his gangster affected your family. If that was your father that he killed, or nephew, or uncle, or cousin, how gangster do you look at him now? We got to stop. We got to stop doing that, man. We got to stop. I want to know why. Like, ask yourself why. Like, why do I glorify these people? If you glorify them, and I'm guilty of it. At one point in time in my life, I thought John Gotti was the dude. I thought Carlo Gambino was that dude. At one point in my life, I really thought highly of these people because in my mind, they beat the system. But I'm talking about when it trickles down to real life, why do we glorify criminals? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. And then we need to say, I got to stop doing that. I want to glorify the kid that graduates college at 17 or 18, never been to jail, never committed a crime, helps the old lady across the street, goes next door to make sure the old man that he's got, he don't need nothing. He's straight. We got to start glorifying that. The sensationalism of negativity is profitable. That's why when the news come on, the first 10 minutes is negative. Because that's what they, I know a lot of people turn on the news to watch the first 10 minutes. Once they start talking about the cat being saved out the tree, we turn it. That's not interesting to us. If you're one of those people and you glorify the criminals, ask yourself why. Ask yourself why. And if you can justify it and you cool with it, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not cool with it. I stopped doing it. I don't, I'm not here to preach or to judge nobody, but the guy Alpo got killed the other day. He's responsible for a lot of people dying. He's responsible. He was in a drug game and he told on a lot of people and he was gunned down. Am I happy he was gunned down? I ain't gonna say he's got, but did I shed any tears? I mean, first of all, I didn't know him. I don't personally know him. So that's another thing. We've been so desensitized to murder. I remember it used to be when a person got killed, that'd be something you think about for a few days. Like, dang, that's messed up. Now it's like, man, you heard such and such got killed for real. Dang, what happened to him? Oh, he did it. Oh, for real. Hey, where y'all finna go eat at, man? Where we going? What we doing? It's almost like we desensitized to this. I can only believe that there's something behind that. I can only believe that there's a plan behind that. We got to stop. We got to come together, man. We have to. And it probably ain't going to happen in my lifetime, but hopefully in my son's lifetime, there can be some kind of unity. Hopefully in my grandkids' lifetime, there can be some kind of unity. Because I know most of my life, the Crips been killing Bloods, Bloods been killing Bloods, Crips been killing your GDs, been killing Vice Lords, been killing Latin Kings. It's just been a lot of killing, a lot of killing. Like, that's something to brag about, that you took a person's life. We got to do better, man. It's your boy So Busy. Stay Busy Apparel. Boss Talk 94303. Just a little something, food for thought, man. Boss Talk. That's what we're doing over here. Hey, yo, thanks for tuning in to Boss Talk 94303. If you like the content and the interviews that you're watching, hit that like and that subscribe button for us.